Hi everyone, it's Justine. People who are on a vegan diet don't eat or wear anything coming from animals. But in apparel production, in fashion, there are several materials used that are animal-based. For example, the main ones are leather, wool, silk, feathers, and fur. So 5 different things that are mostly used. In this video, I want to talk about what it means to be vegan in fashion when you shop for clothes. When they say vegan leather, for instance, what does it really mean? What are alternatives that you can look for when you don't want to wear leather, wool, silk, feathers, or fur? And is ethical fashion, vegan fashion, is that synonymous? Is that the same thing? Let's start with leather. The leather production used to be a simple byproduct of the food industry, but now the consumption of meat stagnates or declines depending on which country you're looking at, while the need for leather for apparel production keeps rising. So now there are animals that get raised and killed, not to be eaten, but just for their skin. When you read leather on the garment's label, it doesn't tell you if the animal has been ethically treated. It also doesn't tell you if only the upper layer is leather and then plastic underneath, or if the whole thing, the whole layer is leather. It also doesn't tell you where that leather is in fact coming from. So there is a huge gap in the information available to you as a consumer. So what are the alternatives? The first one is pleather, also called PVC, which is in fact plastic. This one doesn't biodegrade and it ends in landfills. I have a problem with this one because it's really not recyclable. So no animal dies, but it's extremely polluting during the production process and after the consumer, has gotten rid of that garment. Fortunately, there are better alternatives being developed at the moment. CORK is one of them. It's produced mostly in Spain and Portugal. It is stiff, but it works really well if you're molding something out of it, like a rounded pump, or for flat surfaces. It's also water resistant. The material is harvested from a cork oak. The tree goes on living and growing after the harvest. Every 9 years, you can harvest the cork again. It does not damage the tree. Then pineapple leather is a quite new option. It is made from pineapple leaves and it's already used, for instance, to make shoes. It's a byproduct of the pineapple production. If we didn't use the waste of those leaves to make something out of it, it would just get thrown away. So, sustainability point. Then a very new option is mushroom leather. That one looks surprisingly similar to actual leather in terms of coloring and differences on the surface. It can be anything from soft to stiff, and it's very gentle on the skin, mostly hypoallergenic. It's not water resistant, but it can be waxed to achieve just that. One limitation though, it can't be produced at scale yet, but it's definitely something to keep in mind for the future because it's 100% renewable. Then we have wool. Wool does not technically require an animal to die. You're just shaving off the hair and then it grows back again. It's a cycle. The problem is when animals get genetically modified to produce more hairs, or when they're not being paid attention to while being shaven because people have been told to shave faster. So there is eco-friendly, sustainable, ethical wool. But the biggest producers usually don't tell you where the wool is coming from, and it is definitely intensive production. So what are the alternatives? The first one is acrylic. This one has been engineered literally to replace wool. It is cheaper, it's more stable, it has a similar look and feel and similar properties. It's just not as good as wool. Linen is another alternative. It is a bit wrinkly, a bit stiff, but it breathes very well. There is hemp as well. That one is a bit raw, a bit itchy, but if the yarn is good quality and well spun, it will do the job. Then bamboo is a new option. It's very soft and very flexible. But if you have a bamboo sweater and a wool sweater of the same thickness, the bamboo one will be more expensive. Linen, hemp, and bamboo are vegan and quite sustainable, while acrylic is chemically produced. Let's move on to silk. Silk is produced by little silkworms, but unless you're talking about raw silk or wild silk, the worms don't have a great life. They are doped, they can't really move freely, it's really intensive production. What are the alternatives? Rayon was invented, just like acrylic for wool, to imitate silk. It is way cheaper. It's not as light, it's not as luxurious when you touch it, but it is quite shiny too. Then TENCEL and MODAL are made from cellulose. They're very new developments. They're okay environmentally friendly, they are of natural origin, but they require a bit of manipulation. It is a complex process. If you look at these two fabrics here, can you tell which one is silk and which one is MODAL? This one is MODAL. It has been calendared, so the surface has been pressed by a heavy cylinder, which makes it nice and shiny, just like the silk is. Then we have feathers. Feathers are not used much in fashion, you think, but in fact, down jackets and winter coats are typically filled with duck and goose feathers. It's not just about the exotic ones that you find on haute couture hats. People used to kill rare birds just for their feathers, exotic and colorful ones. Down seems like a bit more ethical, okay option because it's a byproduct of the food industry, and Österreich feathers are not commonly replaced by turkey feathers. They can also be dyed in any color, so it replaces the rare animal. What are the alternatives? We already have synthetic down with great properties. It dries even faster than the real down, which is great in winter. Think of THINSULATE, a microfiber thing which is used for outdoor clothing. Think of PRIMALOFT, which is used to fill the coats of the US Army. Synthetic down is also more eco-friendly and recyclable, or sometimes even already recycled. So as far as down is concerned, we have great alternatives already. And finally, fur. That is the most debated material within the entire fashion industry. It stands on the one hand for absolute luxury, on the other hand, at the same time, for absolute brutality towards animals. The ethical questioning behind that debate is obvious. Even when people don't wear full fur coats, there is this trim which is trending on the hoodie of winter coats, which can be actual fur. So fur is still used in the apparel production, probably more often than you think. What are the alternatives? Faux fur, already broadly used. It is synthetic, so it's not environmentally friendly, but it is 100% vegan. However, sometimes you will buy something that is labeled faux fur and it might actually be real fur. How to be sure? Look in between the hairs. If you see a canvas of fabric at the base holding the hairs together, then it's faux fur. How to be really, really sure? If you burn fur, it's like burning a human hair. It will burn out and smell. If it's synthetic, it will melt and smell like plastic. If the item you purchase is labeled as fake fur, turns out to be real fur, you can take it straight back to the store where you got it if you wish. For each animal-sourced material, we have vegan alternatives, but they're not always environmentally friendly or sustainable. Plastic is really not a great basis. We produce way more than enough of it on the planet already. Then the next question is, how do you put all the materials together to build a piece of clothing? Or when you build a CORK shoe, for instance, is the glue that you're using also animal-free? Is the dye that's being used also animal-free? Last but not least, what about the production process itself? Are the garment workers also treated well, ethically? Fast fashion is the opposite of fair fashion and of sustainability. So if a brand is using vegan leather instead of leather, but has it sewn by children, underaged and underpaid, it's not going in the right direction either. This video is already very content heavy, so I'm going to stop here for today and link down below in the description 2 further videos for you guys if you're interested. The first one is about how to shop for ethical fashion, where to look, what to pay attention to, what are the criteria. And about fast fashion, a video that I did last year, what it is and how does it work. If you found some food for thought in today's video, thumbs up, thank you so much. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested in fashion. I upload new videos every Wednesday and every Sunday. So see you soon again. Bye!